Okay, so the way tripwire works in the most basic sense is you can place a couple of blocks down however many spots apart you want it to be. Obviously a minimum of 3, or else you're not going to have anywhere to place the string to connect the 2 hooks in order to make the tripwire. But go ahead, place your tripwire hooks down on the inside of each of those blocks, and then go ahead and connect them with string by simply right-clicking on the ground. Now, when you go ahead and walk over that line, it'll actually output a redstone signal to any redstone that is hooked into these 2 blocks. If you stand on it, it'll obviously keep the signal continuous. If you walk over it, it just outputs it for a standard tick. So anyway, that is the way tripwire works. Then you can go ahead and, as in the temple here, you can wire it into a dispenser. You could wire it into an underground TNT trap to kill your friends on a multiplayer server. You can do whatever you want. You can use it for good, actually, if you want to have some sort of tripwire activation to open the door to your house. I don't know. Obviously, tripwire sort of has negative connotations to it as far as being used for traps and whatnot. It's a trap. Okay, so that's not all. It's actually a little bug. It looks like in creative you still get the tripwire drops when you destroy them. Anyway, that's a small bit I just noticed. So, as I had mentioned earlier, you can actually put the tripwire in the air, so it's sort of a hovering trap. Now, the way you actually do that, I'm sure there are multiple ways to do this. I just haven't figured them all out, but you can place some hooks up in the air, and then it appears it at least works this way. If you place a redstone torch down and then you place the string on top of that, it'll connect the 2. If you just place a block down, say we delete this, if you just place a block down and then put the string like that, it doesn't seem to work for whatever reason. So yeah, just place a redstone torch down and place the tripwire on top of it, and there you go. Okay, so now in the air I just accidentally destroyed it. Let's place it down once more. There we go. Okay, so now if we walk through it, it gets tripped just like it would if it was on the ground, only that it's actually a bit more difficult to see. Obviously you have the hitboxes there, but if you're, say, looking above the hitboxes, then it's basically invisible for all intents and purposes, because obviously it's a 2D model. So if you're looking at it straight on, then you're not going to see it. So anyway, it actually disguises the trap a bit more if you have the hooks hidden, because obviously the hooks are kind of a giveaway, so you have to cleverly conceal those. But anyway, floating traps may be the way to go if you don't want people to see them, because on the ground it's pretty obvious, especially if it's on grass as opposed to, seems like gravel might be a good way to conceal it. Anyway, all right, so another little tip, another bit of advice for people looking to mess with their friends is you can actually sort of lay down a decoy wire. So here we go. If we lay down some string here, something I neglected to mention as of yet is you can actually pick it up with shears. So here we go. Let's set up another tripwire trap here. Set up our hooks. All right, and connect it all together. And now, obviously, if we walk over it, it's going to set off the redstone. Okay, but if we go ahead and destroy it as well, it's also going to set off the redstone. If we use shears, however, we can destroy it without actually tripping off the trap, tripping off the trap that it is attached to. So if you want to kind of get around setting off the trap, you can simply disable it using shears. However, you can sort of trick someone into taking the improper route, that make them think that they are disabling the trap when they are actually enabling it. So let's go ahead and make sort of a different version of the trap here. Let's set up our tripwire. Let's make it kind of long. Set the time actually back to day, just so that's it's all nice and bright again. Okay, so set up our trap. Pretty long wire here. And now what we'll actually do is we're going to set up sort of a cage. And inside that cage, we're going to spawn a villager so that the trap is actually always engaged. Okay. Obviously, we can't put a block down there. It would disable the tripwire. But we'll go ahead and we'll place a villager down in there. And what that's going to do is that's going to keep the trap so it is always engaged. Now, if you have this whole thing cleverly concealed, your friend might come up and they're going to say, I see this tripwire on the ground. They don't see the hooks. They don't see the villager in there because we've concealed it very well. Okay? So they walk over it. They don't see the wire. They don't see the wire that's already tripped over here. And so they bring out their shears and say, ha, my friend tried to get me, but I'm super smart. So they disable the trap. Well, the thing you can do is you can actually have this thing connected to an inverter. So why don't we go ahead and do that? Let's engage the trap once more. And right now that's going to be in the off state. So your redstone, say this is connected to TNT, that's going to be in the off state right there. So your friend thinks he's very smart. He's going to disable the trap. And bam, this turns on and the TNT blows up. So you can have sort of a decoy line, so to speak, where you actually, the point is that you do destroy the trap as opposed to walking over it. So anyway, just some food for thought. I thought that was sort of an interesting thing that you can do to make it so you don't know whether or not to walk over it. It's sort of a 50-50 chance, a Schrodinger's cat type situation. So anyway, that's tripwire in a nutshell. Hopefully that helped you out in some way, shape, or form. And that's it. So thanks for watching, guys. And I'll see you in the next video.